The stars were quiet. What was once a bright home for billions now drifted as broken dust in the black. Earth was gone. Her cities, her oceans, her songs, all erased. The orbit was full of shattered metal, like frozen tears of a dying world. Among the wreckage, a single station still breathed. Its name was Erebus 9, once a communication outpost, now forgotten by both man and alien. Inside, darkness ruled. Only the slow pulse of a red emergency light moved across the silent corridors. Then, a hiss. From the cryo chamber, a pod opened with a soft cloud of vapor. A man gasped, his lungs fighting the cold air. His name was Captain Elias Ward, last known commander of the Terran Defense Fleet. He sat up slowly, feeling the ache of years in his bones. Around him the other pods were empty, some shattered, some dead. He was alone. Ward pulled himself to the console. The screen flickered weakly, static dancing across the glass. He pressed a few keys. The system responded, old and tired, but alive. "Station log, date unknown," the AI said in a cold, distant voice. Ward coughed. "AI unit, what's our status?" The voice answered, "Earth, destroyed. Human colonies, silent. Dominion forces, victorious. No human signals detected in the last 3 years," Ward froze. 3 years. 3 long years since the final war. He looked at the floor, then at the empty cryopods. His crew, gone. His home, gone. For a moment, he wanted to close his eyes and let the silence take him too. Then, through the static, a sound began. A faint alien transmission. Ward turned up the volume. "Dominion High Command to all sectors. Humanity has been erased. Their resistance ended. Their memory, forbidden." Ward's chest tightened. The words repeated over and over, echoing through the dead station. Erased. The word burned in his mind. He stood up. Erased. No. His voice was soft, but the anger inside him was not. "You can destroy our world. You can kill our people. But you will never erase what we are." He stared at the stars through the cracked glass of the observation window. They seemed colder now, more distant. But somewhere out there, he knew, someone must have survived. Humanity could not have vanished completely. He turned to the AI. "Power up the comms array." "Warning," it replied. "Signal beacon may alert Dominion patrols." "I know," Ward said quietly. "Let them hear me!" The consoles hummed to life. Old machines groaned as energy flowed through forgotten wires. The entire station seemed to wake from its long sleep. Ward typed the message by hand. His fingers trembled, but his mind was sharp. "This is Captain Elias Ward, Terran Fleet. If you can hear this, you are not alone. Humanity still breathes. Stand up. Fight back." He sent the message across every old channel, every forgotten frequency. The signal was weak, cracked by interference, but it carried one thing the universe had not heard in years: a human voice. For a long moment, there was only silence. Then, a faint echo. A response, or just static. Ward leaned closer, hope flickering in his chest. Nothing clear came through, but that small sound was enough. Hope had returned. He looked around the empty station. "All right," he whispered. "If it's just me, then I start again." From 1, he walked through the corridors, checking systems, repairing what he could. Each tool, each panel, each spark of light reminded him of the people who once filled these halls with laughter and purpose. Engineers, soldiers, scientists, humans. He stopped at the memorial wall, names etched on metal. "His crew, his family, I failed you once," he said quietly. "Not again." Outside, a shadow moved. A patrol drone from the alien Dominion scanning debris for survivors. It passed close to the station, lights sweeping across the hull. Inside, Ward held his breath. The AI whispered, "Enemy unit detected." "Let it scan," he replied. "I want them to know we're still here." The drone scanner caught the faint heat of the powered station. It paused, analyzing the signal. Then it sent a short transmission back to its command ship. Moments later, somewhere in the darkness, an alien voice spoke. "Unidentified human beacon detected. Impossible." "Check again," Ward smiled faintly. "They'll come," he murmured. "Good, let them come." He sat back at the console and looked at the stars once more. His reflection in the glass looked tired, scarred, but alive. In the distance, the static transmission still whispered, "Humanity erased." But now another signal pulsed beside it. Faint, rhythmic, stubborn, a heartbeat, humanity's heartbeat. Elias Ward leaned closer to the window and whispered into the void, "You thought you could erase humanity? Terrible mistake." Outside, the first human beacon in 3 years blinked alive, a small, defiant light against an endless dark, and far away, on a forgotten moon, someone human heard it. Across the cold emptiness of space, Captain Ward's signal traveled. It was weak, almost broken by cosmic storms and old debris, but it carried something powerful, hope. For 3 years, the galaxy had believed humans were gone. Planets once ruled by Earth's colonies now flew alien flags. The stars had gone silent, until now. Scene 1, the mechanic on Marson. The red sands of Mars, deep under an abandoned mining dome, Leah Corrin sat alone beside a small generator. She had survived by repairing broken drones and scavenging old Terran tech. Every night she looked at the sky and whispered, "Anyone still out there?" That night her radio flickered. Static at first, then a voice, faint but human. "This is Captain Elias Ward." "You are not alone. Stand up. Fight back." Leah froze. Her heart pounded. She turned every dial trying to clear the signal. It couldn't be real. Earth was gone. The fleet destroyed. Humanity erased. But the voice came again, stronger this time. "Humanity still breathes." Tears rolled down her dusty face. She whispered back to the radio, though she knew he might not hear. "I'm here. We're still here." For the first time in years, Leah powered up her old ship, a broken cargo hauler named Rustwing. Engines coughed, lights flickered, but the ship came alive. She looked at the stars and set a course toward the signal. Scene 2. The pilot of Titan far beyond Mars. On the frozen moon of Titan, Commander Jace Reiner sat in the wreckage of a crashed fighter. He had lived off frozen rations, haunted by the screams of the last battle. Sometimes he talked to ghosts, the voices of his lost squadron. But that night his console blinked. A new message. Not alien, not automated human. "If you can hear this, you are not alone." Reiner laughed, a dry, broken laugh. "Ward, you old fool. You actually made it." He stood, shoulders straightening. The pilot who had once led the Titan wing was alive again inside him. He powered up the fighter's old systems, patched holes with melted ice, and prepared to fly. "I'm coming, Captain," he whispered. "Let's bring humanity home." Scene 3. The child of machines on a derelict ship drifting near Jupiter. A small human child woke to the sound of that same message. Her name was Aria, barely 10 years old. She had grown up alone, raised by caretaker robots that still followed old human programming. They had protected her, fed her, and taught her stories about Earth. When she heard the signal, her guardian robot turned its head. Origin, human transmission detected. Probability of survival 0.3%. Aria smiled. "That's enough." She took the robot's hand and said softly, "Let's go home." Scene 4. The Dominion reacts, but humanity was not the only one who heard the signal. In the Dominion High Command, alarms rang across their silver halls. Alien commanders gathered around a holographic map showing the source of the transmission, Sector 12, orbit of old Earth. "Impossible," hissed a tall, gray-scaled commander. "The humans are extinct." Another replied, "Then who sent this?" The leader, High Warlord Vaughn, narrowed his eyes. "Send a patrol. If any remain, finish what we started." Across the void, Dominion cruisers changed course and began moving toward the source, toward Ward. Scene 5. The spark grows back on Erebus 9. Captain Ward watched his beacon pulse again and again. Still no reply. But he felt it. Something was moving out there. Someone had heard him. He repaired what he could. The air was thin, food almost gone, but his heart beat faster. Every spark from his tools, every flicker of power, reminded him what he was fighting for. Then the radar blinked. Unidentified object approaching, the AI said. Ward looked up. Human or alien? Unknown. He readied the old defense cannons, eyes sharp. Minutes passed. Then a signal, weak but human. This is Leah Corrin, cargo pilot of the Rustwing. I received your message, Captain. Requesting docking permission. Ward's heart almost stopped. He smiled, the first real smile in years. Permission granted, he said softly. Welcome home. The old station shuddered as the Rustwing docked. When the doors opened, two humans faced each other, tired, scarred, but alive. Leah saluted. You called? I answered. Ward nodded. Then we start again. Outside, unseen by both of them, the alien fleet continued its silent approach, drawn by the signal of hope. But inside that broken station, something far greater was being rebuilt. Not weapons, not machines, human spirit. The ghosts of humanity were waking, and the galaxy was about to remember why erasing humans had been the terrible mistake. The station Erebus 9 was alive again. For the first time in years, its lights burned across the wreckage of Earth's orbit, soft and golden, like a heartbeat returning to a long-dead world. Inside, Captain Elias Ward and Leah Corrin worked side by side. The station groaned as they restored one system after another. Power grids hummed, engines warmed, oxygen returned. Humanity was breathing again. Ward stood by the main console, his tired eyes fixed on the flickering radar. 2 signals, maybe 3, he said. Could be survivors. Could be Dominion scouts. Leah smiled faintly. Let's hope for the first. I've had enough of the second. Scene 1. The first reunion hours later, a transmission arrived. Weak, broken, but human. This is Commander Jace Reiner. A Titan Wing, requesting permission to dock. Leah gasped. Titan Wing. They were wiped out. Ward's hands shook slightly as he opened the comm channel. Permission granted, Commander. Welcome back to the living. Minutes later, the small fighter Silver Lance docked beside the Rustwing. When Reiner stepped out, his uniform was torn, his face scarred. But his eyes burned with the same fire Ward remembered from the old days. The 2 men stared at each other in silence. Soldiers who had once fought together, now reunited in the ashes. Reiner broke the silence first. You really couldn't stay dead, could you, Captain? Ward smiled faintly. You either. They shook hands. A small gesture, but in that moment the human race had just doubled its strength. Scene 2. Building the remnants' days passed. The station grew busier. Leah repaired the hangar bays, Reiner recalibrated the defense cannons, and Ward organized what little they had left. 3 people. 1 broken station, but together they started calling themselves the Remnants. Leah scavenged through derelict ships, pulling working parts from alien wreckage. Reiner taught her how to reprogram old Dominion drones, turning their own machines into loyal guards. Ward rebuilt the communication network piece by piece, expanding their signal reach farther into deep space. Each night, they ate together in the old mess hall, cold rations, warm laughter. The walls still carried scorch marks from the last battle, but the sound of human voices filled them again. Leah looked around one evening and said softly, "Feels almost like home." Ward nodded. "Not yet, but it will." Scene 3. Across the stars out there, across the void, the signal kept spreading, a miner hiding in the asteroid belt. A nurse trapped on an abandoned hospital ship. A group of soldiers frozen in cryo-sleep on Neptune's moon. One by one, they heard Ward's call. And one by one, they began their journeys back to Erebus 9. The Dominion didn't understand it yet, how a single voice could travel so far, how it could light fires in hearts long thought cold. They only saw a small human signal. They didn't realize it was becoming a storm. Scene 4, the alien discovery. In a dark command ship far away, Warlord Vaughn studied the growing energy readings. "Multiple transmissions," said one of his officers. "They are using our old frequencies." Vaughn's scales shifted color with anger. "Humans again. I warned them once. Life or extinction, no middle ground." "Orders, Warlord?" Vaughn's eyes narrowed. "Send the Purge fleet. I want nothing left. 12 massive ships turned toward Earth's orbit, engines glowing red with fury. Scene 5, the Beacon of Defiance, back on Erebus 9. Ward stood before a large viewing window. Below him, Leah was welding together a new metal tower on the outer hull. Rainer worked beside her, setting up energy coils. "What's the structure for?" Rainer asked. Ward replied, "A signal, a light for the galaxy." By nightfall, the new beacon stood tall, the first human-made tower built after the fall of Earth. When Ward activated it, golden light swept across the dead orbit like sunrise breaking through eternal night. "This," Ward said softly, "is our message." Leah smiled. "A message to who?" "To everyone who thought we were gone." They named the signal the First Flame. Its light spread across the blackness, bouncing off the remains of Earth's satellites, reaching deeper into space than any of them imagined. For the first time in years, something beautiful shimmered above the ashes of their world, a glowing flame of resistance. Scene 6. The warning moments. Later, the radar alarm screamed. Rainer rushed to the console. Multiple contacts incoming, fast, big ones. Ward's expression hardened. "The Dominion," Leah whispered. "They found us." Ward straightened, voice steady. "Then it begins." He looked at the others. "They'll think they can finish what they started. But this time they face something different." "What?" Leah asked. He smiled faintly. "Humans who have nothing left to lose." Outside, distant lights appeared in the darkness, dozens of alien warships moving like shadows across the stars. Inside Erebus 9, the three humans stood together beneath the flickering glow of the beacon, the first flame of a reborn humanity. The storm was coming, and for the first time in years, the humans were ready to fight. The space around Erebus 9 had grown dark again. The first flame still burned, glowing proudly in the black sky, a sign that humanity was alive. But that same light had drawn attention. The Dominion fleet was coming. Captain Elias Ward stood on the observation deck, hands clasped behind his back. Through the cracked glass, he could see the faint red glow of alien engines approaching from far away, hundreds of them. The war was not over. It had just begun again. Scene 1. The plan inside the command room. The air buzzed with tension. Leah worked quickly, connecting power cables, while Commander Rainer checked the station's weapon systems. The defense cannons were old and weak, but they were all they had. Ward looked at the holographic map of the system. "They'll reach us within 30 hours, he said quietly. Rainer frowned. "Oh, we can't fight that many ships, sir." Ward nodded. "I know. That's why we won't try to win the battle." "Not yet," Leah looked up. "Then what are we doing?" Ward's eyes burned with quiet fire. "We send a message." Scene 2. The last message. The captain walked to the main console and began typing. Every survivor stopped working and turned to watch. Leah whispered, "Is that what I think it is?" Ward nodded. "Yes, a broadcast to every corner of the galaxy." He pressed a switch, and a deep hum filled the air as the communication towers activated. The same beacon that had lit the first flame now pulsed with new energy, brighter, stronger, unstoppable. Ward's voice echoed through the station, then across space. "To all species who watched humanity fall, listen well. You believed us gone. You believed us broken. You thought you could erase us. You were wrong. We are humanity. We remember every loss, every city burned, every child silenced, every home destroyed. You erased our world, but you could not erase our will. To those who still live in hiding, to every scattered soul who carries our name, rise. Find your strength. We are calling you home. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Humanity stands." The words carried through the stars, through static and debris, through dead satellites and forgotten relays. It reached every colony that once held human life. It reached survivors who had buried their hope deep inside. And it even reached alien worlds that had once fought against them. A new sound spread across space, the voice of a people who refused to die. Scene 3. Across the galaxy on Mars. Leah's old mining dome lit up as hidden humans stepped from the shadows. On Titan, survivors of the Titan Wing opened hangars that had been closed for years. On a drifting ship near Neptune, a little girl named Aria watched the stars and whispered, "We're coming." All across the system, small lights appeared, old Terran transmitters reactivated by human hands. One by one, they began sending out the same signal: humanity stands. For the first time since Earth fell, the stars were speaking again. Scene 4, the Dominion's response deep in the black. Aboard the Dominion flagship, High Warlord Varn listened to the broadcast in silence. His claws dug into the metal table, leaving deep marks. "Mute that noise," he hissed. An officer hesitated. "It's everywhere, sir. Every channel, every frequency." Varn's eyes flashed with rage. "Then silence the source." Outside the flagship, thousands of alien warships turned toward Earth's orbit. Their engines burned crimson, their weapons charged. The Purge fleet had begun its approach. "Erase the station," Varn commanded. "Erase them all. This time, leave nothing behind." Scene 5, the calm before the fireback on Erebus 9. The crew watched the incoming readings. Dozens of red dots filled the radar. Hundreds more followed. Leah whispered, "That's not a patrol." "That's an army," Reiner smirked darkly. "Guess they didn't like your speech, Captain." Ward simply said, "Good. It means they heard it." He turned to the others. "They think we're just a few survivors. They think we'll run or beg, but we'll show them what it means to be human." Reiner loaded the cannons. "Weapons ready." Leah tightened a bolt on the reactor core. "Power steady." Ward walked to the center of the room and looked at both of them. "Listen," he said quietly. "Whatever happens next, remember this moment. We are not fighting for victory. We are fighting so that others out there can see our light and know humanity never surrenders." Scene 6, the first shot outside. The alien fleet filled the horizon like a black storm. The stars disappeared behind their massive ships. The silence of space broke as hundreds of energy cannons charged at once, their glow turning night into fire. Erebus 9 trembled as the first blast hit its shields. Sparks flew. Alarms screamed. The station shuddered but did not fall. Ward stood firm. "Return fire." From the station's surface, human cannons roared, small compared to the enemy's might, but sharp, defiant, precise. Each shot found its mark, tearing holes in the alien vanguard. For every blast that hit them, they answered with fury. Leah shouted over the noise, "We can't hold this for long." Ward replied calmly, "We don't need to hold. We just need to survive." He looked once more at the glowing beacon, their first flame, still burning strong through the smoke and chaos. "Even if this station falls," Ward said, "our message will not. The galaxy has already heard us." Scene 7, the flame spreads as Erebus 9 fought for its life. Human ships across the solar system began to awaken. Old cruisers powered up. Engines that had slept for years roared to life, and far beyond, hidden colonies began to rise again. Humanity was answering the call, and the first flame was no longer alone. Ward watched the enemy closing in and whispered under his breath, "They declared us extinct. Let's remind them what extinction feels like." The battle for humanity's future had begun. The black sky burned. Alien warships surrounded Erebus 9, their red lights flickering like angry stars. Energy blasts tore through space, shaking the old station to its core. Every explosion echoed through the metal halls like thunder in a dying world. Inside, alarms screamed. Walls cracked. Sparks rained from the ceiling. But through all the chaos, Captain Elias Ward stood calm. "Hold the line," he said, voice steady. Leah and Reiner worked furiously at their stations. Smoke stung their eyes, hands burned, but they didn't stop. Reiner shouted, "Shields down to 20%!" Ward replied, "Redirect auxiliary power. Keep the beacon alive no matter what." Leah turned to him. "Why the beacon?" "We're about to be blown apart." Ward looked at her with fire in his eyes. "Because the galaxy needs to see this." Scene 1. Humanity fights back. The Dominion fleet advanced in perfect formation. Thousands of alien cannons aimed at one dying human station. Their commander, High Warlord Varn, watched the battlefield from his flagship. "End it!" he hissed. No survivors, but when the Dominion fired, something unexpected happened. The energy blasts bent, redirected mid-flight, and struck the wrong ships. Explosions erupted among the alien lines. "What happened?" Varn roared. An officer stammered, "Their station. It's hacking our guidance systems." Ward smiled grimly as he watched the chaos unfold. "Thank you, Leah," he said. She grinned. "Use their own targeting code." They never changed it. The humans had turned the Dominion's perfect technology into their weapon. For the first time in years, alien ships were dying by their own fire. Scene 2, the battle turns status, Ward demanded. Reiner yelled back, 3 ships destroyed, 5 more retreating. The others are regrouping, Ward nodded. Good, keep the pressure. Hit the flagship's shields. Leah fired the station's main cannon. The blast ripped through space and struck the Dominion flagship head-on. The shockwave lit the void like a sunrise. On the alien bridge, alarms howled. Varn clutched the railing. Impossible. How can humans... Then the comms crackled. Ward's voice came through, steady, cold, human. You thought you could erase humanity. You thought we'd fade quietly into dust. But you forgot who we are? We build. We adapt. We endure. Varn's eyes widened. He had heard human voices before, angry, desperate, defeated. But this one was different, calm, certain, dangerous. Ward continued, you made one terrible mistake. You let us survive. Scene 3, the human strategy inside Erebus 9. Reiner's hands moved across the console. He opened a holomap showing hundreds of old satellites drifting in orbit, relics from the time before the war. Captain, he said, these satellites still have dormant reactors. If we link them, Ward nodded, we make a minefield. Leah grinned, and turned their fleet into fireworks. Reiner activated the command. One by one, the old Terran satellites woke from their slumber, glowing faintly blue. They aligned themselves into formation, silent, deadly. The Dominion ships moved closer, unaware. Then Ward gave the order, detonate. The sky lit up. Thousands of explosions bloomed around the enemy fleet, tearing ships apart, throwing debris into chaos. The shockwave rippled through space, shaking even Erebus 9. Leah covered her ears. That was beautiful, Ward whispered. That was human. Scene 4. The alien fear on the Dominion flagship. Panic spread. Casualties. 70%, an officer shouted. Varn's voice trembled for the first time. Retreat! Pull the fleet back! But it was too late. Human drones, reprogrammed Dominion machines, swarmed the damaged ships like metal hornets, tearing through hulls and reactors. For the first time in galactic history, the Dominion felt fear. Their perfect order had met chaos, and chaos wore a human face. Scene 5. The HFY moment. Ward's transmission went live again, echoing across all frequencies. This message is for every Dominion world that believed humanity was weak. Look at your skies now. Those fires you see, they are not your victory. They are your mistake. We are humanity. We don't die quietly. You took our home, but not our heart. And now we take back the stars. Leah stared at the captain, tears in her eyes. You think they'll understand? Ward smiled. They don't need to understand. They just need to remember. Scene 6. The terrible mistake. The remaining Dominion ships fled. Only the flagship stayed behind, crippled, but still burning with hatred. Varn opened a final transmission to Ward. You cannot win, human. You are 3 against an empire. Ward replied calmly. Then it's an empire that should start worrying. He fired the last cannon. The beam pierced the flagship, cutting through its core. Light consumed the ship, then silence. The battle was over. Scene 7. Aftermath. Erebus 9 floated among the wreckage. The stars were quiet again, but now filled with drifting light, the remains of a fleet that once called humanity extinct. Leah slumped in her chair, exhausted. We did it. Reiner laughed weakly. 3 humans and 1 broken station. Ward looked out at the stars. Not broken anymore. He watched the beacon still glowing bright on the hull, the first flame. It flickered softly, sending the same signal again and again. "Humanity stands!" Ward turned to his crew. "Send the message once more. Louder this time. Let every survivor hear it," Leah smiled. "And if the Dominion hears it too?" Ward's voice was quiet but firm. "Good, they need the reminder." Outside, the beacon shone brighter than ever, lighting the remains of a lost world with the promise of a new dawn. The aliens had tried to erase humanity. That was their terrible mistake. The silence after battle was deep, almost peaceful. Around Erebus 9, the wreckage of the Dominion fleet floated like broken stars. Pieces of alien metal drifted in slow motion, glowing faintly in the light of the first flame. The war was not over, but the fear was gone. Humanity had survived the impossible. Inside the command room, Captain Elias Ward, Leah Corrin, and Commander Jace Reiner sat quietly. The hum of the engines and the soft pulse of the beacon were the only sounds left. Reiner leaned back, eyes closed. "I never thought I'd live to see this sky again." Leah smiled softly. "It's not the same sky, Jace, but it's ours again." Ward stood near the cracked observation window, staring at the stars, the same stars humanity once called home. Scene 1. The survivors arrive. A faint beep broke the silence. The radar blinked, one signal, then 2, then 10. Reiner sat up. "More contacts, Captain." Ward frowned. "Dominion reinforcements?" Leah shook her head, smiling. "No, human." One by one, small ships appeared from the shadows. Scavenger craft, mining haulers, rescue pods, even old Terran patrol ships. Each carried survivors who had heard the last message. The comms came alive with voices, human voices. "This is the Mars outpost, responding to your signal. Colonial freighter Phoenix reporting in. Medical transport Hope's Light, requesting docking clearance." Ward listened, eyes wet. For years, he had dreamed of this sound, the sound of his people returning. He pressed the comm button and said simply, "Welcome home, everyone." Outside the station, more ships kept arriving, small lights gathering around the beacon like stars forming a new constellation. The humans had returned to the cradle of their extinction. And they were not alone anymore. Scene 2, the new dawn days passed. The survivors repaired Erebus 9 together, turning the once ruined station into something new. Human Command Base 1. Engineers rebuilt the power grid. Doctors cared for the wounded. Children, born in hiding, ran through the halls laughing for the first time in their lives. Leah stood on the outer hull, looking at the glowing blue earth below. Broken, but still there. Reiner joined her. "Think we can rebuild it?" She smiled faintly. "We built life on Mars. We'll rebuild Earth too." Inside, Ward watched the reports. Small human colonies had started to communicate again. Hidden bases across the solar system were coming online. The signal of the first flame had become a chain of beacons stretching across the void, connecting humanity once more. Scene 3. The message to the galaxy. Ward stood before the main console once again, but this time his voice was not desperate. It was proud. He began a new transmission, the message that would travel across galaxies. "This is Captain Elias Ward of the Terran Remnants. 3 years ago, you declared humanity extinct. Today we declare the opposite." He paused, letting the silence speak for itself before continuing. "We are alive. We are united, and we remember. To every species who once called us friend, our hand is open. To those who called us enemy, remember what your mistake cost you. Humanity does not vanish. Humanity endures." The words spread through the stars once more, bouncing from ship to ship, planet to planet, a song of survival, pride and warning, and this time millions listened. Scene 4. The Dominion's defeat far away. On the Dominion homeworld, High Warlord Van watched the transmission in silence. His empire was in chaos. Fleets destroyed, colonies rebelling, leaders turning against each other. The humans had done more than win a battle. They had ignited rebellion. Hope, once thought extinct, was spreading like wildfire across the galaxy. Vaughn's second-in-command whispered, "What now, Warlord?" Vaughn's eyes darkened. "Now, we hide, until we understand what we truly faced." He looked at the flickering image of the human beacon. "Erasing them," he said quietly, "was a terrible mistake." Scene 5, the return of humanity. Back on Erebus 9, the new fleet stood ready. Ships old and new, rebuilt from scraps and memory. Each one carried the mark of the remnants, a single white flame burning against a dark field. Ward walked the docking bay, watching crews prepare for launch. Reiner called out, "Captain, where to next?" Ward smiled. "Everywhere. There are humans out there still hiding." "It's time to bring them home," Leah saluted. "The stars are ours again," Ward nodded. "No, the stars were always ours. We just had to remember." Scene 6, humanity's flame as the fleet lifted off. The first flame burned brighter than ever, its light reflecting across the metal hulls of human ships rising toward the stars. Children pressed their faces against the windows, watching the beacon fade into the distance. They didn't know the pain that came before. They only saw the light that came after, and that was enough. Ward stood on the bridge, staring into the void ahead. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "We are the species that refused extinction. We are the voice that silence could not hold. We are humanity, and we have returned." The stars ahead glowed brighter, as if answering the call, and behind them, in the ashes of old Earth, the first flame continued to burn, not as a memory of the past, but as a promise of the future. Humanity had fallen. Humanity had risen, and this time they would never fall again.